Welcome to POPLAW Podcast. I'm your host, Desiree, and I'm still not your attorney. Focused on education, empowerment, and entertainment, POPLAW is the podcast where culture, business, entertainment, and law intersect. Join me as I explore cultural hot topics from a legal perspective and discuss the impact of some of the most compelling legal cases with industry experts. Today, I am sitting down with a rising force in the entertainment law industry. From practicing as an attorney at Brand Nice Inc. to founding her own firm, the Jones-Mejia firm, she specializes in complex contract negotiations, from music contracts and DJ agreements to venue contracts and influencer sponsorship deals. She ensures her clients maximize their value and protects their creative rights. In addition to her focus on contracts, she is also deeply involved on the production side of the industry, co-producing the infamous Club Quarantine Live. Everyone, please give it up for Ashli Jones.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very excited to have you. I am so excited to see your career take off, and welcome to the legal community.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to have you here.
It's exciting.
Great. We have mutual friends, and we officially met earlier this year at a friend's birthday party, and I was so excited to meet you in person. When you graduated from law school, my older sister sent me an Instagram post, and she said, "You should know her." I'm like, "I will." The legal community is so small, and turns out we have friends.
Yes.
Okay. So, we're going to be discussing the impact of social media and the ever evolving creator economy. And we're going to focus on post pandemic. You had a lot going on during the pandemic, and you have kept that train running. So, I want to dive a little bit into the legal side of everything you do for Club Quarantine and everything else. D-Nice related, but also your other clients, because I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. So before we get into the topic, from mixtapes to monetization, DJs and creators rocking the economy, let's get into some rapid fire questions.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Excited.
Okay. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Okay. Harlem or Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Really?
Yes.
All right. This is a question that I came up with late last night because I know we've talked about some of our influences and legal, but these are my favorites. Feel free to add some others. Who is your favorite legal duo supergroup? And I created these groups. So Claire Huxtable and Judge Judy as one group, or Harvey Specter and Judge Mathis.
I say Claire Huxtable and Judy. Powerful women.
Yes, absolutely. I knew you would pick that. Those are my favorite, inspired my career, the reason why I'm an attorney. But I recently just started watching Suits, and I'm so obsessed. And I kind of regret not going to a law firm, only because of Suits, but my friends who work at law firms hate it. So then I come back to reality.
No, I actually haven't watched Suits, which is really crazy. I try not to watch too many legal shows because I'm always like too opinionated on them. And is this real or?
It's a little bit not real, but have you ever worked at a firm?
Yes.
Oh, you have? Okay. So I've never worked at a firm, so I really didn't know the experience. So after watching it, I was calling all of my legal friends and I'm asking them, does this really happen? Does this really happen? They're like, a little bit, but it's, exaggerated. So,
Yeah. I went to a firm directly after law school for a year. So
all
I
right.
feel like,
How was that experience?
it was good. I feel like it made me the attorney I am today. So okay, I really did appreciate the experience.
But not too long, because now you're doing your own thing.
Yes.
I love that. All right. What is your go-to song when you have the aux cord?
Okay, my go-to is definitely Virgo's Groove by Beyonce. It was the last song I played at my wedding, danced to with my husband as well. But it really just makes me feel powerful, and like the beat and everything is just very inspiring to me. So very much gonna play that. It's #1 song.
I love Virgo's Groove too. Shout out to Jazzy. That's one of my really good friends. She's one of the writers on that song. So Virgo's Groove is definitely a great pick.
Yes.
All right. Club Quarantine or Versus?
Club Court and obvious choice.
Right. And I knew you would say that, but I definitely had to ask because those were two impactful moments that continue on and got us through the pandemic. So I just love watching it, but definitely had to ask you the question. Okay. So, to frame this episode's discussion about the impact of social media and the creator economy, we have to start at where I believe was the shift in this whole thing, and that was quarantine. When the pandemic happened, we were just put on a mandated lockdown, of course. And I think that this seclusion caused the loss of human interaction. And I believe some people still have had a problem adjusting to being in normal conversations around people and seclude themselves. And we spend a lot of time on our devices. But being homebound and having a lot of screen time, people came up with TikTok dances. Do you know how to do TikTok dances?
I'm not a good dancer, so I kinda, but I will watch. I love TikTok.
I do not do TikTok dances. I haven't really gotten into TikTok either because I spend too much time on Instagram and I'm like, I can't get addicted to my, yeah, I do those, yes. Um, and I was about to say something else about TikTok, but I won't. And then, there has been obviously we're gonna get into some of the negative impact of social media with the mental health crisis and the states trying to regulate that and how, different people are trying to combat the negative influence of social media. But I think one of the great things about social media that happened was the blow up of club quarantine. And we just need to talk about how you were able to, from a legal perspective, shift that from being on Instagram to now all over the world.
So my experience with Club Quarantine is a little different than you may realize, just because when it first happened, I actually was in law school still. So I got to witness the growth of it just along with the world, but see how it really inspired and impacted communities. I think that the community that was created out of Club Quarantine is truly amazing. Like sometimes they have uh different chapters. They call it like different sections, like the New York section or the Atlanta section, which is really cool because it really builds a community throughout the world. My experience with Brand Nice, so I've been with Brand Nice for the last year and a half. So uh of course Club Quarantine was already established before I got the chance to be there. But now, as we continue to celebrate the journey of music and how music can save lives, every day it's like something new, which is great. And we're still doing the quarantine live shows because we never want to forget that moment. It really was an impactful moment and it did affect so many lives. So I think that continuing to protect the journey of the music experience with the fans, I think that's what's the best part. And from a legal perspective, I think Brand Nice does a really good job with taking, this economy into our own hands, essentially, and really reaching out to venues and artists directly and being able to put on these concerts for the people and for the love and joy of music.
I've been to some of the club quarantines.
You have a good time?
I did. I went to the one in CanCon, however you want to say it. That was a really good one. Um, and I just think also it's amazing. And we keep on mentioning Club Quarantine and Brand Nice, and you are D Nice's daughter. So it's, want to make that clear. That's why I'm asking. And I read an article that your dad said he wanted to be a lawyer at one point. His interest in being a lawyer formerly, did that inspire you to go to law school?
I think that, so my inspiration, I'd wanted to be an attorney since I was 4 years old, which is really crazy to say. When I was 4 years old, my dad tells a story of him coming into daycare and seeing us watching like one of the court TV shows. And he's like, why? Like, I think it was Judge Joe Brown.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you have my 4-year-old watching this? But I just really found it impactful to, even if it's like arguing with his parents when I was like 4, like advocating for my cousins, advocating for my sisters, and why they should be allowed to do certain things. I think those arguments or like little fights for me standing up for their rights inspired me to really want to go to law school. And I kept that throughout my entire life. Like I always knew I was going to be an attorney, but I never knew what type.
Right.
It was just a matter of, getting into law school and figuring it out on my own.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that. And you are maybe 3, 4 years out of law school. So tell me a little bit more about your firm experience and then just having that skill set to be over to take over such a dynamic brand.
Yeah, so when I first started out of law school, of course, the entertainment field is hard to get into. Yeah. And I was inspired to, although my dad is who he is, I kind of wanted to try and get into the entertainment world on my own.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went to a firm straight out of law school. I did mortgage and foreclosure litigation. So I was in court pretty much every day, whether it was virtual court because it was still coming out of the pandemic or in person. I was going to court and advocating to a judge every day or writing motions. And I think that the foundation of building those skills really made me who I am, because now I pay attention to things in like such detail, or I'll think about things like, if I do X, what's going to happen later? Like, I like to think of not just how the law can have an impact now, but how it will impact, going forward.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And when I do contract as well, I think about the long-term goal and what in all deals, not just this one deal. How can I represent companies as well? How does it impact the company? So, with this crazy busy entertainment industry, people just want to get things done and now, but take a step back. Let's talk about the long-term impact and the long-term goals. I think that's really great. And you being able to go into litigation and mortgage housing crisis, I know that was such a crazy time, particularly during the pandemic.
Yes, very rough. Because you just want to help people as much as you can, but when you're in that kind of an environment, there's only so much you can do. So, taught me a lot.
Right. What has been your favorite deal so far?
Um, Favorite deal. So we're currently producing Club Quarantine Live New Year's Eve. So that has actually been my favorite deal so far, because this is the one deal that I've got to talk to the venue, and then I also have negotiated with all of the artists that we have performing. So this is definitely my favorite deal.
Oh my God. Artist dealings. How's that going for you?
It's going good. It's going good. I think that I've been prepared to just deal with all types of people and all types of representation. So as long as I know that I'm doing my job the best that I can, I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Sometimes dealing with artists and being that you represent the artists too, you have a full spectrum lens because you got to protect the brand, got to protect the artist, and know what these artists sometimes expect. Sometimes it's crazy. Yeah. Like, what are y'all doing? What are you asking for? But the temperament I believe that you have is just so great to make sure that Club Quarantine Live and anything else that you do is just going to be successful. Um, and I want to talk a little bit more about that transition. What was the first thing out of, I know you said it started a little bit while you were in law school, but getting it off of social, because again, we're stuck in the house, but making these in-person events real now when it started on social media.
I think that I give a lot of credit to my dad. He literally has these ideas and he makes them happen. So when he sees like, okay, this is a venue, he's a really good example of manifestation, and really just like when he sees something that he wants to do, we're gonna get it done and we're gonna try our best. So whether it's negotiating sponsorships or just figuring out the venue or what artists we want to work with, I think he does a really great job at really just making it come to life.
Yeah.
So I think that is the basis of how it comes to life, is really his idea. And then we're like, how do we get it done? How can we paper this? What can we do to elevate it and continue to build the community? Because I think the best part about Club Quarantine is the community that came out of it.
Right. And lawyer, production part, daughter, do you also have to act as the manager, self-regulate a little bit,
No,
the limitations, or is it just
No, he actually is self-managed, so he does all of that himself. But I think that it really does give me the time to bond, outside of, if we're at a work event, he's Derek to me and not dad. But like if I call him on the phone, like, yes, that's my dad. But I think we do a really good job of like, when we're talking one-on-one, we can talk like father-daughter and still mix business, but also like still be professional. And I do think it gives me a lot more time to spend quality time with him because I'm going to these events. Of course, like as an attorney, you have to travel, you have to really be there to make sure that everything's running smoothly. So I think I kind of live the best of both worlds, being able to be there, but also be there in a lawyer capacity and doing what I love as well.
And when you're there and an obstacle may happen, as we know that they happen with venues and events and people on set, how do you find that balance of keeping the lawyer hat on and, not making it bleed over into this is my dad, you aren't about to play with him?
Yeah, I think that's challenging sometimes. Of course, I'm human, so sometimes it may bleed over, but I just think I try to introduce myself, especially if it's a deal that I did. I'd rather introduce myself as a lawyer first because I want people to respect me. I deserve the respect, but I get this. I worked hard for it, so I don't want people to think that, like, oh, I'm just doing this because it's my dad. It's like, no, like, how would I treat any of my other clients as well? Because I do have other clients. Like, how would I want them to feel? I just try to put my best foot forward, because of course, like at the end of the day, like this is my job, job security.
Job security and obtaining new clients and the amazing job that you're doing with this, the clients just come. So I mean, I don't know how hard you have to work to go get other clients, but I think you just need that one and everyone else will come because they see such a great job that you're doing.
Yes, I try to go out just by leading with my name and not with who my other clients are. So that way, if you like me and you think that I could do good work with you, then great, let's work together.
What are some other projects that you have worked on that you really love that are, you know, creator friendly?
I love the brand deals that I've been working on. I can't obviously name them, but I do a lot of brand deals with my other clients as well. I just realized the impact that social media has and how powerful and how amazing it is. And it's really cool to see how brands use influencers, or like how brands use influencers to like showcase their product, but also, how they can reach out to the community and to consumers. And I think that there are such amazing creators out there. And I think it's the most impactful thing.
Taking advantage of social media is something that creators definitely can take advantage of. And us representing sometimes companies, when we try to get these informers to come in, how difficult these social media posts, her requests can be. They want more dollars if they have to post on social, if it's on the grid or in the story. Can you talk a little bit more about your experience in that contract if you're representing the brand, and then also from a perspective of the creator who is being approached by a brand and wants social media posts?
So right now I mainly do the creator side because I am inspired by creators' rights. I think that it's super cool that we have moved to creators having the leverage that they have. Like they can say yes or no to wanting to do stuff, which I think is super impactful. But also creators now can decide who they would like to align with, which I think is really important, because in the past, if you're signed to somebody, or if you have a company that has a direct line with another company, you really wouldn't have a say. You would kind of have to go with the flow if you wanted the money. So now I think that creators have the opportunity to decide, yes, this works for my brand. No, this doesn't work for my brand. And where do I want to go from here?
Really, this new generation, they don't care about money. They want to know about the brand. Are you also seeing that in the deals that you do?
Absolutely. It's more so because I think people are starting to realize like your personal brand is going to be tied to these companies that you decide to do deals with.
Right.
So how does that work? Like what are they doing in the community, or what are they standing for? Is it aligning with you?
Right.
And then that's another thing you have to decide. Like, do you want to have the brand, if they do something controversial, do you want to have the ability to cut ties, or how would you like to handle those situations?
Cut ties and still get paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I play both sides because I work for the company and I have clients too. So, do you advise a client sometime in your capacity as a lawyer if this aligns with their overall brand goals and deal they have and interests that they have?
It depends on the client, because it depends on the client, because some clients care more about like if they're gonna get like what are they gonna get out of it. But if a client wants to hear my opinion, and if we have an open line of communication for me to be able to give my opinion, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, your clients also are a reflection of you. So
Yeah.
you want to make sure you're aligning with the right clients, with the right companies.
Yeah. And we are talking about the right clients, the right companies, and alignment. And I want to go back a little bit to the social media aspect of it, where clients, brands, influencers, they are just hosting. Sometimes people aren't really thinking. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants to say what they want to say. Do you sometimes pause on the clients that you represent and do a little bit more due diligence to see what they post before you take them on?
Absolutely. Um, I so I like to protect my peace as well, and I don't want to like obviously people make mistakes, and you never really know what's going to happen with the client, but I absolutely like to at least see how do they align with what I'm trying to do goal wise, or the goals that I'm trying to achieve as well, just to make sure that we're in line.
Yeah, I had some crazy clients who have gone off on other people, not me per se, but that is a reflection. Do we want to continue this relationship? Because you could be next. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it is a telling time across different industries. The freedom of free freedom of speech is not great. And I also have to warn people, you can't just say whatever you want to say. Think about your money, think about lawsuits, including defamation. It's, we won't talk about what's all over social media right now, but I think there are things that we need to think about and advise our clients on it. Well,
And also, like when you're in a creator space, your fans and the people that reach out to you are everything. So you kind of don't want to get hit by cancel culture as well.
oh my gosh, the thoughts on cancel culture. Is it real, or does it apply to only certain people?
Certain people, definitely.
Everybody deserves second chances, right? You aren't as bad as your one mistake.
No, we should give people grace.
Absolutely, it's a lot going on. All right, so we're talking about people just posting on social media as protecting our peace, and peace is not relative, right? It is a spectrum. Everybody has their own definition of peace, but what is really important, and the basis again of this conversation, is the lawsuits coming against these social media companies. The endless scrolling, the mental health issues coming out of that. And while most of the lawsuits are attempting to protect children, I think that some of these mental health issues also impact adults. I know that I scroll and I'm like, oh, shoot, it's been an hour or two. I need to get back to work. So I need to probably self regulate and put some restrictions. But, what are your thoughts on these lawsuits coming out? There's over 200 lawsuits across 42 states. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I definitely think that it is an issue. Social media, although it is very powerful and it does have great characteristics, I think that there also is a negative side, and there needs to become more of a balance. I know that I do a lot of TikTok scrolling. That is my guilty pleasure, but TikTok actually used to have, like, if you were scrolling for too long, they would pop up an ad and it'd be like, hey, you've been scrolling for like X amount of time. Maybe you should take a break. But I realized recently that they don't really do that anymore. Okay. So I feel like they need to bring back, different methods of getting people to stop. I know that Apple does screen time, but you can also turn that off so you don't have to see how much you're doing.
Yeah.
But I really think that we do need to protect mental health, because social media, because we have access to the world and it's not just what's right in front of you, I feel like that is a really big part.
Yeah, it definitely is a part of it. I'm starting to hear about kids committing suicide based on their social media. And just violence, I think, is increasing. We see so much of violence on social media. People are intentionally creating criminal and violent acts, hosting it on social media. And there has to be some regulation, whether it is um, the viewing restrictions. I think it's a little bit biased. You see some images and not others. Let's talk about that a little bit. I definitely hate seeing that they would post or allow posts on social media of black people get killed, but you don't see other crimes as much. And it bothers me. What are your thoughts on that?
It definitely bothers me, especially like even when you see the people, you can always tell who committed a crime by the way that it's posted on social media. Because if it is a Black or minority person, they're always going to post their picture or like have their mugshot ready to go. But then when it comes to people of other communities, they kind of are like, one person did this, and it's not really telling, but it does so. Like,
Yeah.
who actually?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely know. And then again, that's the bias, right? And the what I believe the intention of trying to foster fear and um other things across the different groups. And social media has to have not only those restrictions for children, but for us as well. And how do we go about keeping these companies honest and liable for the crimes that may be committed on social?
I think we should definitely keep those companies liable, but we also need to talk more in the community about mental health. And like, I know that mental health has been a big topic recently, but I feel like it wasn't talked about as much. So I feel like if we're going out and educating the community more on mental health and the effects of social media and showing them, like this is what could happen or this is what had happened, I think that would be a big impact too. My only worry with trying to regulate the companies is there's always going to be another social media platform. If one gets closed down, they're always going to find another way. So I think it really depends on like the ownership, and maybe if consumers expressed it more or like made it a big concern, I feel like that's the only way that change and movement will happen.
Yeah, and then maybe attacking it at the federal level, right? Because most of these cases are by the states, and certain states are banning social media, banning it in schools. But what happens when you go home? What if you have a parent that's, too busy to monitor? And I don't even know if all of the social media platforms have those parental restrictions like they do on television programming. But maybe it has to start becoming federally regulated.
Yeah, I think that it definitely needs to be a more widespread and announced problem. Like, I think that as a consumer, express your concerns and try to get it done, because I feel like if only a small portion of communities are saying it, then it's not going to get paid attention to as it would if it was a larger scale of people.
Right. And then on the playing devil's advocate, I'm also thinking, if we put these restrictions on social media, does that hurt the creator economy? Are people as free to create content? Do we want to regulate the layperson and what they're posting? I don't know. I mean, maybe you have a different perspective because the brands that you represent now blew up from social media. Do you think it'll stifle?
I think it really depends. I do see the other side, honestly, because I work with creators and creators and artists. So I do see the negative impact that it can have, but I think that more progress can come where we can find maybe something in the middle rather than just an extreme ban or, letting it feed. I think that's why I mentioned like maybe the mental health conversations or just like more ads, like maybe an ad that's like, hey, maybe take a break. Like more of those, I feel like would be really helpful.
And maybe there could be, you know how that when you go on social media and you post something with music and then you get the copyright notification. Yes, we definitely don't want to get those copyright notices and lose your pages, but maybe it's something that, we can implement at a federal and a state level, and maybe even contractual with the people that we represent, of having those flags that within that first 5-10 seconds, if it violates the policies of term of use, it's removed and you can't see it on a profile anymore. Because I had some cute videos of music in the background and they got taken down.
Yes. I also wonder though if that would hurt, the creator that's just coming up or the artist coming up. Because you know how people, that's a whole nother thing, but like samples, like I wonder if it would make it more difficult for the new creator.
Yeah.
Because that's why I love social media is you can be a creator who has 100 followers and you can still be seen, or you can be a creator that has 1 million followers. And, I wonder how that would impact all.
Yeah, and it only takes one person, the right person, to see that content that you post and completely change your life. Absolutely. So it's definitely a tough balance, but we'll do our job as attorneys to make sure our creators are protected. And I love that you implement education in your practice as well and the guidelines, and most importantly, protect the your piece, because we wake up to problem solving, right?
Every
Reading, people yelling at us, everyone mad. It is a difficult job, but you are definitely doing it with grace. Thank you. Uh, Tell everybody where they can find your firm and where they can find you.
Yes, you can reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is Ashli Lyric, ASHLILYRIC. And also my firm is on Instagram as well, the Jones-Mejia Firm, LLC, and more to come.
Yeah,
That's the beginning.
this is definitely just the beginning. So, 3 takeaways from this episode I have is self-regulate your own social media, protect your peace from the scrolling, the time limit that you put on. The second takeaway, get a great attorney. Get a Black woman attorney. We are here for you. We are going to educate you, and we are going to make sure those contracts are right. And not only for this one contract, but for all of the contracts in your entire business. And the third takeaway, Ashley, I will let you tell the audience the takeaway that you want them to go with, the last piece of advice from you.
My last piece of advice would be to really align yourself with brands that value you as an individual and what you believe in. I would say that's the most important thing.
All right. That is the final word. Thank you so much for watching POPLAW Podcast. I'm your host, Desiree. Make sure that you listen to POPLAW Podcast on all streaming platforms on the POPLAW YouTube channel. Reach out to Ashley. If you have any questions, make sure you pay those consultation fees. And please remember, I am still not your attorney.